In the area of environment, the military is directed to intensify its makinig kayo kasi gitawa dyan, support role against illegal logging, illegal mining, and other destructive practices that aggravate the devastation of our natural resources. I have to protect the country.
That's former President Rodrigo Duterte in his first State of the Nation address in July 2016. I'm Franco Luna, PumaPodcast. Did Duterte fulfill this pledge to clean up the mining industry? In this special series on Duterte's legacy, we take a closer look at the promises he made on the campaign trail and early on in his presidency, and match that up with what actually happened the last 6 years. Former President Duterte came out swinging with the appointment of environmentalist Gina Lopez as Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources.
Many are complaining against the appointment of Gina Lopez. But si Gina, pati ako, we share the same paradigm. The interest of the country must come first. But hindi ko naman sinasabi, there's a law allowing mining. Gina Lopez and I are just telling you, follow government standards. Do not destroy the environment. Gina Lopez is just doing her job. You know, she is really a crusader.
Lopez went on an all-out crusade against mining. In February 2017, she issued an order to close 23 mines and suspend the operations of 5 others. She also audited all mining firms in the country and stripped some big firms of their environmental certificates over environmental violations. Naturally, the industry was up in arms. And for her, it came at a steep price. The Commission on Appointments rejected her as Environment Secretary.
It is unfortunate that business interests have in fact run the day, because that's really what it is. So if government co-ops to big business, then what hope do the poor have? What message are we giving here? If you want to be confirmed, never go against big business.
Eventually, Gina Lopez was replaced by former military general Roy Cimatu. But even with Cimatu at the helm, Duterte's strong rhetoric against mining continued, at least on camera.
One day, sabi ko, I will just have to confront Congress. Sabihin ko talaga sa kanila na we have to close the mining industry. Or better still, plan a period, then give Mother Earth a respite of the continued and endless digging.
Fast forward to the pandemic. Cimatu's DENR dismantled the barriers to mining. First came the lifting of the 9-year moratorium on mining applications. New mineral agreements and renegotiations of existing deals were now possible again. And in December 2021, the government lifted the ban on open-pit mining, the same ban that Duterte supported after Gina Lopez imposed it in 2017. Duterte said it was to shore up the government's revenues during the COVID-19 pandemic. But Leon Dulce, chair of the Kalikasan People's Network for the Environment, is not buying it.
This is actually a funny attempt na i-justify yung matagal nilang sinitsempohan na i-reverse yung mga mining regulations. Kasi the mining influx does not immediately translate to actual capital na makakuha nila. Ang development ng mga bagong mining applications takes 5, 10, 15 years bago makapag-actual commercial operations at maka-generate na ng rekurso, maka-generate na ng revenue. So kung gusto mo talaga ng economic activity na mag-stimulate ng ating flagging economy because of the pandemic crisis, mining is definitely not an immediate economic activity that will give you the injection of capital na pinapangako, no?
The group Alianza Tigil Mina warned that easing of mining restrictions would only worsen the effects of climate change. Here's what their national coordinator, JB Garganera, had to say in an interview over One News in November 2021.
Yung mga mining-affected communities, dahil wala na nga gubat, kinalbo na kinabkab na yung bundok, pinutol na yung kagubatan, mas prone sila sa landslide, flooding at erosion. Hindi kami naniniwala that open pit mining has a place in an archipelagic country.
The DENR, in its order, argued that there are already strict environmental rules in place and that these are enough to mitigate the negative impacts of mining. The train law had also doubled the excise tax on minerals and mineral products. In addition, miners pointed out that they have long followed international standards adopted from places like Australia and Canada. Here's Felix Mining Chair Manny Pangilinan on One News of the Chiefs in February 2022.
The more informed our regulators are, I think the better it is for the mining industry. Then better safeguards are enforced and adopted, no? And that should be welcomed by the industry as a whole.
Finally, just days before Duterte stepped down, the Department of Finance pulled the country out of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. That's an international mechanism for ensuring governments disclose important information on the mining, oil, and gas industries. And basically, the DOF took issue with the way the country was assessed. Here's Kalikasan's Leon Dulce again.
Long story short, towards the end ng Duterte government, parang walang naging maayos na review, pero nagkaroon ng full reversal doon sa mga regulations na ito. It was done under the guise of responding to the economic crisis na nilikha ng pandemic. Tapos, that was the beginning of the lifting of various regulations.
In short, it's open season for the miners once again. And while Duterte publicly kept proclaiming that he will prioritize the environment over mining, in the end, he did just the opposite. Let me end by taking you back to his 2017 State of the Nation address.
The protection of the environment must be made a priority ahead of mining and all other activities. I sternly am warning all mining operations and contractors to refrain from the unbridled and irresponsible destruction of our watersheds, forests, and aquatic resources. But you have considerably neglected your responsibility to protect and preserve.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Presh Capistrano. The last episode on this special series is out tomorrow, and it's about oligarchies. Remember when Duterte vowed to dismantle them? We take a look at what happened instead. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka and PumaPodcast wherever you listen. We're excited to build a community with you, and it looks like we'll be able to meet for events real soon. So if you want to stay in the loop, please go to PumaPodcast.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Thanks for listening.